Art dates back before the Homo sapien, meaning art is in our nature. Before we became intelligent, we knew art. I've been researching art and I'm also an art major. Today I'm going to be talking about the influence of art on our culture. I'm going to be discussing how art helps us with our history, early artworks, as well as modern artworks. I had a professor, her name was Mrs. McGee. She was my art history professor. She taught me that artworks can be dated by their materials and common features, such as where things are placed and the color scheme they used. These things can be contributed to a time period, and as well as the technology can also tell the time period. Artwork showed the type of living, and it can also tell stories and religions. It can show what they hunted, what they believed in, what they wore, and it can also help solve some theories. There's also a man, his name is Roberto Mabel. He's a graphic designer and a documentarian. I'm going to be quoting one of his documentaries about early artworks. He showed the Paleolithic era, and their artwork was all about survival. They were mostly cave paintings. One specifically was a cow and a bunch of hunters. The cow was bigger, but it was proportionate, and it was more 3D. And the human was a stick figure and very small. This was contributed to the underdeveloped sense of self. They weren't sure what it meant to be human because they were too focused on their survival. During the Neolithic era, it was more so about their ancestors and religious rituals. They showed this in their masks, their statues, and tablets. During the Bronze Age, it was also about their ancestors and rituals, but now data was introduced. They had masks, pots, and statues. Their artwork was more symmetrical and durable during this time, and also hieroglyphs were introduced, which is basically a language through symbols and pictures, and also the first calendar. It showed the passing of time without numbers or letters. The Hellenistic era, this showed the developed sense of self and also culture. It was still durable, but now artwork was more of architecture and pottery, and sculptures as well. These things showed events and their mythology. They were very detailed, and a lot of their sculptures showed the equality between gods and humans. It showed what a human had the potential to become, but they also lacked emotion. During the Middle Age, it was more religious. They used their artworks in manuscripts and their architecture. Architecture during this time was more like the Catholic Church. Calligraphy was also introduced, which is just fancy lettering. They used their artwork to attract people to their ideology, to their religion. They made the religion more pretty so people would be more open to it. And also mosaics and geometric designs were introduced at this time. During the Renaissance era, they used their art for technology and fields of school. So pictures you see in your math book and your biology book were created at this time. They used their artwork to help with learning. And the general elements of design were established during this time. During the Neoclassical era, they used art to depict the wealthy and also for political gain. During the Expressionistic era, it was more so of nature and landscapes and beautiful colors. I also am going to be quoting a TED Talk by Katrina Gregos, and she showed how we use artwork nowadays for political propaganda, social issues, and to evoke emotions for change. Artwork today is a blend of all styles, and it depicts society more than the individual. We have museums and digital artwork, art for commission, but sadly art is being more defunded. Today I talked about how artwork helps us with history, early artworks, as well as modern artworks. And I've also stated the influence of art and history. Now that you have a better understanding of art and why it is so important, I hope you appreciate art more.